Boy.
Good bit.
Kevin,
yes.
Here's something.
Here's something.
Yes, Justin?
Folks, I don't know about you boys, but I love reading. There are
But boy, does he hate structures of podcast introductions. He loves reading, but he hates to follow a structure.
We're making up the structure. We're making it up.
Well, no, wasn't the structure just here's something?
No, and then you say what it is, and then I play the theme music, and then you elaborate after the theme song.
It's all right. No. I'll take it from the top.
No, it's all staying in. The cough is staying in.
Good. The break, everything, all of it, raw, as they like it, as I like it.
As you like it.
I've got to hear about what Justin's reading. This is driving me crazy.
Kevin, Vern, here's something. The Scar by China Miéville. Roll intro!
Whoa!
Miéville.
The Scar?
The Scar by China Miéville.
S-C-A-R? Yes,
the middle book in the Bazlog fantasy cycle by China Miéville. It's not your daddy's fantasy.
No, that's kind of China's thing. Is like,
yes.
Fuck, you gave me a China book once because I was complaining about the dominion of Tolkienian fantasy.
And boy, does it basically buck every Tolkienian impulse it can offer. Because rather than elves and dwarves and orcs, you've got the Kepri, who are like an all-women species of people with beetles for heads. Not like they have a beetle head, like the beetle with the like thorax and abdomen is their head. There's the Garuda, who are like eagle people, who like have a flying library where they just like carry books around and their own weird fucked up laws. There's the Vojanoi, who are frog people who can control water, and then there's the Weaver, an interdimensional spider who basically lives on an entirely aesthetics-based ethics that is whose mind is basically incomprehensible. He speaks entirely in like Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac language.
Okay.
Like, what if you made The Howl an entire mindset? This is just one book. This is the first book. What I'm talking about is the second one, called The Scar, which is a nautical fantasy in which various peoples are brought together on a floating city. A city made up of ships from centuries brought together and bound together, who have developed their own languages, who have developed their own technologies, arts, sciences, through salvage. And what I love about it, and what I love about China Miéville's Bazlog cycle is, yes, it's incredibly antithetical approach to fantasy. It is extreme, like, it takes industry as an assumption. It assumes technology advances, and therefore culture advances with it. It takes very bold stances on fantastical tropes. Like, there are plant people in this, but they're cactuses.
Yes.
They're giant cactuses who, like, live in greenhouses, and when they sail, because they're too heavy to, like, climb masts, they train monkeys to, like, do the rigging.
Oh, cool.
And because they're plant people, like, bullets and arrows don't hurt them. So they wield rive bows, which are crossbows that shoot circular saws.
Oh shit!
Just slash each other. That basically fell each other like trees.
Sick.
Yeah, it's just, all that stuff I talked about. There's even crazier shit in these books.
No.
Like a full act in the Scar is them summoning Cthulhu to basically use as a mount to pull their floating city.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's their chief of police is a dolphin named Bastard John, and he has like a dueling scar.
Not Bastard John.
Is he the titular Scar?
No. The Scar is basically a rift in reality that they want to they want to basically frack.
Okay.
As a power source.
I hate to be that guy. I got bad feeling about fracking the interdimensional Scar. I got bad feelings about fracking the rift, actually.
Just fracking in general.
What it does with why I think the Scar especially I think does fantasy so especially well is by keeping it focused on a very central location of a floating city, a city made of salvaged ships. That gives it a very strong identity in and of itself, while also constantly hinting at a much bigger world. A world where, where prisoners are turned into cyborgs against their will. Or, there's an island that was an ancient civilization of mosquito people. And whose coast is called the Rusted Shore because it's made up of tiny rusty screws and springs and gears of just technology lost to time. It creates its sense of fantasy is both extremely specific because, like I said, it's kind of basic stuff. It's mosquito people. It's cactus people. While taking those prospects seriously enough to actually make them feel like there would be a society of them, while letting them be flexible enough for people to have individual relationships to those societies. Because that's kind of the problem with Tolkien, is there's the Shire, and everyone just in the Shire just likes it.
Right.
Which, and again, I get it narratively. The only people who don't like it are Bilbo and Frodo and Sam. Because that's what makes them protagonists.
And ready to leave, yes. But it doesn't. But it makes it feel like a less fully formed sort of space. That there's not that changeability. It's like we were talking about in the last episode. If this is true, what else is true? If expand upon these worlds and how would it actually affect the world and how would people actually feel about it?
Exactly. It leaves a lot of blank space for you to actually kind of fill in and kind of experience individual relationships to a greater culture that you just don't get in Lord of the Rings. I don't get a sense that Legolas has any different relationship with being an elf than any other elf.
Totally. Yes. It's very, this is what this kind of person is, and there's no, not type of person, this is what this species is, and there's no deviation from that line.
Exactly. While with the Scar, everyone is a deviant. Everyone is literally a castaway. So it creates a space where people can both grapple with this new culture they're surrounded by, as well as deal with the relationship to a society they can no longer return to. So they can feel nostalgia, regret, catharsis, moving on from an especially shitty society. While also dealing with the very real problems of the society they now have to live in, which have politics and culture and all of this, and its own technology. And also by dealing in much more wild and abstract stuff, like beetle-headed women and cactus people, and dolphins named Bastard John. It creates a world that feels more surreal and lurid, and strange. And that strangeness is, I think, something that a lot of fantasy is extraordinarily lacking. Because I feel like there needs to be a sense of fantasticness. Like a sense of a world that's not just like, a heightened sense of memory. Like, where like in fucking Warhammer, that like Warhammer series where where it's
get
just,
their ass.
There's England. There's just a fake England country and a fake France and a fake Italy and a fake Rome, and then elves and dwarves. That's
making the fantastical feel mundane, but not in an intentional sort of way.
Exactly. It's just boring short. It just uses it as boring shorthand to save them the effort of actually making up something interesting.
I'm trying to be better about reading this year. I do a lot of reading, but it's always just like shit on the phone. I'm trying to replace like empty calories with like good calories. Trying to step away from like reading fast food and reading like
paper.
Yes. And so I've been reading some books. A tiny spoiler for the next time I do a Hear Something. But a lot of why I don't read, especially like fantasy stuff, is it either sounds exactly like normal life, but like the people have pointy ears, or it just, and I'm gonna offend a lot of folks who like read, and I'm sorry, I'm a stupid person, but like a lot of fantasy stuff just sounds like real life, but where they have pointy ears.
Yeah.
Or it just sounds like the 50 Shades of Grey to Lord of the Rings Twilight. It just kind of feels like fan fiction.
That's also fair. I think
but this sounds like it's like its own unique thing, which is very intriguing and fascinating.
Yes, it comes from a genre literally called the New Weird from the like late 90s and like early 2000s.
I like it.
That tried to explicitly break the molds of fantasy that had become wildly codified in the wake of the kind of paperback boom. Like, if you go in, like, when you go into any used bookstore of any size and you go to sci-fi fantasy and their mass market paperbacks all look the fucking same. It's all guys in tights or like loincloths, like gesturing at like either skeleton men or dragons. That kind of like paperback aesthetic had become so codified by the 80s that people needed to fucking break.
I can't think of his name. We talked about Gentleman Broncos forever ago, but like Jermaine's character from that, like that kind of strain of book.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so it lended much more towards surrealism and like gothic horror, more so in ways that I find much more interesting. It like much in the same way that new wave sci-fi in the 60s and 70s broke so hard from the like fucking golden age of sci-fi, like Isaac Asimov, Ray Bradbury, Robert Heinlein, those guys who are like, we have to do the nuts and bolts, this has to be accurate. Just stuffy engineers being like, the robot would act like this woman would be hysterical, and the child would be childish. And then in the 60s and 70s, these guys, actually led by one of my favorite authors, Michael Moorcock, a really fucking good writer who heralded this shift, said, hey, what if science fiction was literature? What if it actually was artistic and it was trying to be focused much more on evoking emotions and engaging with the reader's feelings? What if that was the, like, prime motivator, instead of asking, what if this one mineral existed, and that allowed me to power a battery, and by God, this battery could make a refrigerator last 3 weeks longer than typical. The future!
The future.
Give me some of that fridge mineral. Give me that mineral right out the fridge.
Justin, I hate to put you on the spot,
but
that author that you're just talking about, what's a good starter book for that guy?
China Miéville?
Him, but also
Michael Moorcock.
the other. Yeah,
I would say one of his most famous book, and the book and the story that kind of helped inspire the new weird in the 90s is Elric of Melnibone. Melnibone. I don't know. It's something I've never read out loud, but it was an explicit break from Tolkienian fantasy, because instead of imagining, what if the main hero was, square-jawed and, like, broad-shouldered, he came from nothing and became everything. Instead asked, okay, what if the main character was, like, a sickly albino aristocrat, who has to take, like, tons of pills and potions just to get out of bed in the morning? He comes from a legacy of warlocks and demon worshippers, and the kingdom he inherited is basically if the elves were evil, and he's basically the king of evil England, where it's this island nation that used to rule the world, and then, because they live forever, turned in on themselves and became a bunch of, like, junkies and sadists, like, where they have, like, a torture chorus.
Oh.
And like, their dreaming city is where they do drugs all day, and they're stuck in, like, hallucinogenic stupors. And Elric shows up as this, like, sick kid who wasn't so... he's the wrong kid who lived. And he shows up and he says, well, what if we had, like, morality? What if we didn't spend all of our time torturing each other and getting high, and we, like, built a bridge?
It'll never work.
It never happened. But it's very good. It's cool fantasy because the main character is actually, like, smart. He, like, thinks shit through. And that's kind of the gauge of his personality. He's not a Conan, like, brute. He's an intellectual who more brokers deals with demons and elementals to get his way.
More of a Picard?
Yes.
Like a diplomat?
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah. And it's part of this huge, like, oeuvre called the Eternal Champion, where basically it's the same kind of hero appearing time and time again across genres, like alt history, steampunk, 60s swinging spot, like Austin Powers' spy adventure, gothic vampire, like distant future post-apocalyptic stories, as one guy trying to do the right thing always, and it's always the same kind of person. And
interesting.
Yeah, and it's super influential. If you, like, look up this stuff, it's everywhere. And the guy who wrote this, Michael Moorcock, he was an editor in the 60s who helped basically birth new wave fantasy, new wave sci-fi, and then wrote a ton of great books. And he's just been this, like, he's this really cool figure. He's an anarchist. He's a leftist. He wrote a great takedown on Tolkien called Epic Pooh, comparing Lord of the Rings to Winnie the Pooh, because they're about as emotionally complex.
Oh, okay. Not the direction I thought I was going with.
No.
I like it.
And just sort of long story short, folks, check out The Scar, check out Elric of Melville, check out New Weird, check out genre fiction that really tries to be different, that tries to surprise you. that tries to be itself and actually push you as a reader to imagine more than you did before you start reading.
Fascinating.
So that's my something.
That is something.
That is something.
And I tried to keep it brief this time.
I'm sorry. I got fascinated. I'm sorry.